Welcome to the lighter side of the dark side. It's your weekly freak show here on Renegade Radio and all podcast catchers, iHeartRadio. It's the Dark Mark Show. I'm Dark Mark, the goth comedian. And as always, let me flip the camera around here. There she is, everybody's favorite horror writer, Nicole Six.
Good evening.
Hello, Nicole.
Hello, Randy.
We missed you last week, Nicole.
I know. Yeah, I missed you guys too.
Yes, and we've got somebody that's been a friend of ours for a long time, and
A very long time.
somebody you've never met, who I think is already a friend.
I would agree. She seems very affable.
Yes, and let's swing the camera around. And by the way, this person that is our friend is a real rock star.
He is. He's a legitimate rock star.
And let me tell you something. I'm looking around this room, and the three of you are so good looking. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Oh, you got some makeup on. You prettied yourself.
That's right.
I
Trust
saw
me,
it in the parking lot. It was like impressive.
Yes.
I could see it.
Well, speaking of impressive, here is an actual rock star right there. There he is.
I still just feel like just me. I'm just Randy.
The bass player of Stitched Up Hard and former bass player of London After Midnight and many other bands. And he's always got a few musical projects on the fire. Randy Mathias.
Oh, hi, guys.
Hi, Randy.
Thanks for having me on the show today, Mark. I appreciate it.
This is the second time you've been on the show, and I will go back. I don't know if you remember. It's been a long time. We're going to...
I believe it or not, I do remember, and I was thinking about it earlier, and I was not going to bring it up. I was like, because I remember I was just so shy. I was so nervous. I stood in the corner. I didn't say anything. You were talking about
this is
clothing and all that.
Yeah.
I remember it. I was like, I don't know. It's not really my show. Should I say anything? Should I not say anything? I don't know. Anyways.
Well, you come out of your shyness apparently, and now you've embraced your inner rock star, and that's great. And we also have, because I had this as kind of insurance just in case you were as shy as you were 9 years ago. But also I did want to have you on the show, so I was like, this actually worked out perfectly. And you guys have been getting along great and talking about all sorts of musicians that nobody's heard of. This is one of my friends who's she's been. By the way, hold your dicks. Mama's here. She's been in 300 commercials, over 300 commercials. She was star of The Lawnmower Man, Blast from the Past, Mi Familia, many other TV shows and movies, ER, CSI New York, all sorts of things. And now she's lighting it up in stages all over, and there's so much to talk to you about. And she was very skeptical. She did some research before the show to make sure this was a credible podcast, and you realize it is. It's Rosalee Mayeux. Am I pronouncing that right? No.
You are. Miracle.
Mayeux?
Miracle. Mayeux.
Mayeux, yes. She's from Louisiana.
From Louisiana. In fact, I just got contacted by these 300 people yesterday that there is a Mayeux reunion going on in Louisiana.
Oh, really?
Weekend, which I will miss. But yeah, and it's such an unusual name. I didn't know there were 300 of us.
Well, if there was going to be 300 Mayeux, it would have to be in Louisiana.
Yeah,
there's no other place. There's no other place it would be.
Exactly.
And so let me regale you with the story, Rosalie, and our viewers. So I'm going to take the camera back to Randy. I know you hate to have the spotlight off of you, but here's the story. Now, this is Randy. Nicole and I have known you for I think you probably met around the time you met me, about 2012, about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've known you a little bit longer. Just basically, and I say we're friends. I mean, we're basically people that run into each other at the goth clubs and say hi and catch up with each other. You know, I've never borrowed money from you. I've never asked you for a ride to the airport. I've never cried about
Not
women
yet,
to you.
anyways.
No, it's coming. But in 2013, our first show at Skid Row Studios downtown, we had my friend and our mutual friend. This is
Hillary.
Hillary's Vanity. Thank you. I've got so much research that I couldn't even remember Hillary's name. Hillary's Vanity. It's a really sloppy show. Go to YouTube if you want to see it. It's very sloppy. We had a fashion show for Hillary's Vanity, and Randy was one of her models. And like you said, you were so shy, and we were back before the show. You're like, I don't have to talk, do I? I'm like, you don't have to talk. You can if you want. You don't have to. And then at the end of the show after us, which was Nestorius Public Radio with Nestor Rodriguez, who's a comedian, they just popped in and started talking like they didn't know we were still doing the show. So that's how sloppy the show was. So this is cut to 2015. And I have moved to New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh, by the way, around the same time.
What?
Yeah, but we're going to get to that. Around the same time, about the 2013, I was a guest. I want to get you guys talking in a second, but listen to this. 2013, I was a guest on the Danny Bonaducci's ex-wife's show, Gretchen Bonaducci. I was a guest, and so was this band, Stitched Up Hearts. And Stitched Up Heart...
Okay, that must have been early 2000. This is... Very early. 2000... No. This is going back. This is before you were in the band.
Okay. This is before you were in the band. This is when Mixie had dark hair. And they were fantastic. I'm like, this band is going somewhere. This is a really good band. So 2015, I had enough with LA. I moved to New Orleans in 2015.
Because that's so much better than LA.
In some respects, and I was living in the 7th Ward. You tell me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wait. So I'm in the 7th Ward. I'm like, wow, Stitch Up Heart's playing. They're opening up for Dollskin. Let me go and check them out. And I went down there. Who's playing bass for Stitched Up Heart? My friend Randy.
Oh my gosh!
And so I'm backstage talking to.
Wait, where was this at?
It was at a barn. It was like a converted barn. You guys were opening for Dollskin. It was like a weird. It was almost like it was like a converted barn.
Dollskin.
Yeah.
That Dollskin was the girl band from Phoenix, correct?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not fair.
You were at Howlin' Wolf.
Yeah, I know.
No, I did comedy at Howlin' Wolf.
I've been to Howlin' Wolf before.
This was on the outskirts. It was like a little barn, and they had like dolls.
Oh wait, no. I think it was One Eye Doll.
One Eye Doll. I'm sorry. One Eye Doll. I'm sorry.
No, there was another band called. There was one called Dollskin. I remember, and I believe it was a girl band, all girl band out of.
No, you're right. One Eye Doll. I knew Doll.
One Eye Doll. Kimberly and Jason, I think was
right.
Was the name. Yeah.
So I'm talking to the guys backstage, and Randy's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And
I remember that. I totally remember that moment.
Yeah.
What's Mark doing over on the other side of the country right now?
And it was just so it was serendipity. So now. My friend who's played bass for all sorts of bands is now in Stitch Up Heart. And then since then, you guys have just been all over the place. You had the #1 song on the hard rock chart, on the mainstream rock charts. You've got such great. You're a rock star. You played festivals. You just
it wasn't. We haven't hit the #1 spot, but we have charted on there quite a few times already.
I think you were in the top 10. I don't know.
Yeah,
my research has been
finally Free, the first single that we released after we joined the or actually we signed after signing the deal. That was the one that charted the highest. I can't remember the exact number, but I remember it charted fairly high. Yeah,
right. And you just I think last month, correct me if I'm wrong, you just played a festival with Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, we played. What's the name of it? Daytona. It's I know. Remember Daytona? Welcome to Rockville was the name of the.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. And unfortunately, though, Guns N' Roses didn't play. It was kind of like the rain ended up being so bad at that the night before, Korn was supposed to headline, and I don't think Korn or the band before them even got to play.
Right.
Yeah.
The night we played. Or the day we played, it's like an all-day event, so it was band after band after band.
Sure.
We're scheduled to go on at like 5 p.m. And it starts raining, and we get a call or over text message like, "Hey, they got to shut the festival down temporarily." And then we get another text message about 45 minutes later, like, "Hey, we're going on at 5:35 sharp." So everyone's like, "Grab your stuff, run to the stage. We're gonna go set up right now and get ready to go." Anyways, we play our set. Thank God the heavens opened up for just a couple minutes, and then the next band.
The magic of Stitched Up Hearts.
and then it ends up pouring rain again, and they shut the whole festival down after that. So it was almost like we got to headline "Welcome to Rockville." Guns N' Roses didn't even get to play that night.
There you go.
Wow.
It seems it was destined. So now you can say you headline Welcome to Rockville. There you go, Stitch Up Heart. And I'm sure people were disappointed, but
honestly, I felt bad for a lot of the bands that were there, though, because there's a lot of funding and people that spend money that travel far distances to come to these shows. They're huge.
Yeah.
And when it gets rained out like that, it's actually really sad.
Well, let me ask you a business question. If it gets rained out, do you get paid?
We still got paid, yeah.
No, but I mean, if you didn't go on, would you have gotten paid?
I think it's happened both ways each time.
Okay.
This time we played and we got paid. The year before that, we did another festival that we were supposed to do another festival that was in Orlando, and just as we were crossing over the Florida Georgia line, we look at Instagram, and that's how they notified everybody. Was they posted something saying the festival's been canceled because of weather problems, and we never got paid for that one.
Oh wow!
So we never even went to the festival either. Luckily, though, me, and Mixie are both from the state of Florida,
Right.
and we have family that lives right around Orlando, and we ended up, we were going to be there for a couple days, so it ended up being like a 4 days we got off of work, so we just
That always happens in front of your family.
Yeah.
Just to embarrass
You get rained
them,
out?
and they go like, "Did you have a job, honey? Did you?" Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're from Miami, right?
Correct, originally, yeah.
Louisiana.
Louisiana. Where in Miami?
North Miami Beach.
Okay, because I used to live in South Miami. We probably.
I lived in South Beach for a little while. 13th in Pennsylvania, I think that was where it was.
Wow.
I lived all over the place. Lived by Joe Robbie Stadium. I went to the Art Institute in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh wow!
I don't even think it's even there anymore though. There was another college I had went to. It's been so long, I can't even remember the name of it. It was on Sunrise in Fort Lauderdale, a couple miles from the Art Institute. I remember. So
Right.
I spent a lot of time out there.
So were you going to be a graphic artist, or what were you going to do? Or you were always a musician?
No, originally I was going for music and video business is what I was going to school for, and then eventually I just really wanted to be a musician. I didn't want to be behind the camera. I wanted to be in front of it.
Nice.
Even even though you were so shy 9 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a different situation because it's like something that's been rehearsed like 1,000 times over and over and over, and getting up and going and play the same thing every day in, day out is like no biggie. But a lot of times, before I used to get really nervous when I'd have to share something new that I didn't really speak about or
Right.
practice or anything. I mean, today I took a couple notes down on some stories or whatever. If we get to it, we get to it or not. But
Right.
and before though, it used to be like, oh God, what do I talk about?
It's always the shy one.
Yeah.
Nicole, you think he's going to get to it, or you think I have too many questions?
I honestly think you probably have too many questions, but I think we'll get through some of the list.
Okay.
But
We think if we do any of it.
yeah, we'll be here till 10. But I was going to say now you're a bass player.
Mhm.
Did you start as a guitar player, or you were always a bass
I
player?
actually did. I started as a guitar player.
They
but
always do.
I started as a guitar player, and I'll be honest, I'm really not a very good guitar player. I don't even consider myself a guitar player. I know how to play a couple chords, but when I moved out here to LA, that's when I started. I realized there was a lot larger need for bass players than there were guitar players, because guitar players were pretty much a dime a dozen. Like everybody
Right.
wanted to be a guitar player or a singer, so that's when I was like, all right, well maybe I'll play bass instead.
Which is a good move, because
Yeah.
you've been a session bass player for years.
Quite a while. Yeah.
And I was trying to find out specific sessions. Is there anybody we would know that you've played bass and like? Besides, and we're gonna get to London After Midnight.
Honestly, quite a bit of tours. I would used to get hired into a lot of different bands that were like it would be like somebody who had was in a major band, like Trouble from Crazy Town. He had a side project. DH from Dead Kennedys. He was also in the Chili Peppers at one point, and then he had a side project, and I toured with him.
Right.
Ended up being like a bunch of projects, kind of like that. Ginger from Manson, he had a side project. Somehow he got my number, and we did a few rehearsals, but nothing ever ended up coming of it, unfortunately, though. But it ended up being like a bunch of those little smaller ones that from had members that were in really big bands, and I would get hired into those a lot.
Right. I met Ginger.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like
at the time he was in Manson. Now he's obviously in.
Yeah, isn't he Rob Zombie's band?
Rob Zombie, yeah.
Rob
He's
Zombie
actually done quite a few shows with those guys too. Festivals, anyways.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because Rob Zombie basically hired Marilyn Manson's old band,
Yeah.
pretty much. So, and that's fine. So let me. You grew up in Miami. You grew up in Louisiana. Now, this is my first question for you. How does a woman from Louisiana? Is it New Orleans, or was it a small town, Louisiana? Small
farming community. 2 hours out of New Orleans, but between New Orleans and Houston, West Louisiana.
Okay, so actually, the barn where I saw you guys might have been your old barn. But so, how does a girl from a farming community in Louisiana end up modeling in Paris?
Oh gosh, I got found on a runway in Dallas one day by a designer and taken from there to New York, and then where I used to get my hair done at the same place as Tom Petty. So I was destined to meet you today, Randy.
Really?
Yeah, we had the same hairdresser.
Like you guys would be under the blow dryers together, you and Tom Petty, and hey, how's the new album going? Yeah, it's kind of good. We're just got a new song. It's called Refugee. You might like it. But so New York. So this is, you're a teenager, right?
Yeah. So then after New York, it was Europe for a long time, and then when I came back, it was such a weird transition because modeling is so different than acting and all that. It's just a whole different, is I don't know. You just have a dark soul as a model.
Well, this is what I want to get into, because when you were modeling, and if I've got my time frame right, and I'm pretty vague on what the time frame is, but this is when models were really exploding. Like this is like Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell,
yes,
exactly. Like the George Michael video where they were all in it, and I don't think you were in it, but
exactly.
you were.
No, but I mean.
But you were hanging out with all of them,
yeah,
and
it was all that timing. I mean, I was too curvy to be a real runway model. I got caught chewing gum and whistling on a Versace runway. So
what?
I'm just
how dare you,
Louisiana? What can I tell you?
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, but when I came back from Europe, I had like 1-inch white blonde hair and a 7-inch miniskirt, walking with a bad attitude. And they said, great, you're going to be in a Campbell's commercial. And I went, I'm sorry, what? And they said, yeah, you're going to sing. I said, I don't sing. And that was it. Like your die was cast. They would see you as something, and that was it. And from then on, I was cast as the young mom. From then on, I looked like you. I did not look like a mom. At all, and that's what I was casting.
I don't look like a mom either. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm telling you.
I'm thinking you might look more like Nicole than me. I'm guessing. I don't know.
It was hard for me to imagine whatever
And
they saw. So you're just kind of batted around.
So you had like super short hair, is what you're
Yeah,
saying. So you had that attitude going on that was definitely not the mom
Like,
attitude. That's like the punk attitude.
No, I think
like the hot punk mom.
Yeah, my first commercial was singing for Comet. So
Comet Bleach.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
do you know the song?
No, I do not.
I'm a hot punk mom. I'm scrubbing pots.
It was ridiculous.
How much do you remember of Paris? Like that had to have made a huge impression on you at that age.
Yeah, it was just your life. At 7:00 at night, you get a phone call from your agent of where you were going to be the next day. 7 a.m. you were on a train somewhere to go do a photo shoot, and you just sort of lived that life. You lived very well. All of your money got taken by the agents and the prefect du police. It all had and taxes, and so all that was gone. So you lived on about 10% of your earnings.
Man,
it's pretty much like that in the music industry.
Yeah,
and the comedy industry, and the writing industry.
Exactly,
I get 40%.
See, that's much better than mine. But
and they give you a bag of cocaine and some speed.
My roommates wouldn't even tell me what they were up to because they were all shooting up heroin, and I was like from Louisiana, and I was going like, I don't understand where she went, and it was kind of weird because I did not fit in. There was a couple of us that did not fit in with the lifestyle that everybody else was leading. But some of the girls, went off into the dark side. Some of them were shooting stars. This is terrible to say, but at the time you could still sleep your way to the top.
Yeah.
They fucked that up now,
I actually have to work.
I know. It's like all these people saying work. Why? But okay.
You didn't sleep your way to the top.
No, unfortunately, I had a boyfriend.
Well, I know you didn't sleep your way to the Dark Mark show. That's for sure.
I would have though.
No. Randy slept his way to the Dark Mark show, but you did not, Rosalee.
Those girls were excellent with money. They learned the exchange rate to survive. Like you get paid in Deutschmarks. It was better rate than the franc, and so you would. The girls were very, very smart. Not me, but they were.
But yeah,
when I first came to LA years ago, I was an extra on a couple of big movies, and I remember looking around, and I would see condoms occasionally. Like we were doing one. It was just one school movie.
A school movie with condoms,
like an after-school special.
No, it was the Drew Barrymore. I can't remember.
Oh, like a high school movie.
It was like a high school movie. Yeah, right. But I remember a couple times on the set seeing like condoms, like in.
Well, Drew Barrymore. That makes sense. Remember Drew Barrymore? No, because Drew Barrymore was like sleeping around when she was like 11. I mean, come on. You remember that movie that she had never? I used to do this joke. It's no longer relevant, but you remember that movie Never Been Kissed? That she did?
Yeah.
It's Drew Barrymore. She used to suck cock for crack when she was 12. Come on. She's Never Been Kissed. But
I think that was the one I was actually an extra on.
Oh, you were an extra Never Been Kissed. Okay.
I've never been kissed.
Yeah.
It was cute.
But Drew Barrymore's been kissed.
Yes. A lot.
I saw Drew Barrymore in a goth
She's
club.
kissable, though.
She's very kissable. I'm not. I don't want. Trust me. I don't want to ruin my chances of being on the Drew Barrymore show. But
when I lived in Manhattan, it was the height of Studio 54.
oh, really?
The height. And you could go there as a young model, and nobody would hit on you because you were protected by Mark, the door guy.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
I've heard different stories of Studio 54. We've had a couple guests.
But it was all, so full of drugs.
Well, I know that, yeah.
It was, I was given a golden Coke spoon. I don't think that's...
Wait, I gotta ask you, was the grandma, I saw the movie with Mike Myers, played one of the characters.
He played the owner.
Yeah, he played the owner. And then there was the grandmother.
Steve. He played Steve Rubell.
There was the grandmother during the thing, and she used to go down to the club, and she would do cocaine. I think she'd show up on roller skates or something like that. In the movie, she did anyways. She was always dancing.
Makes sense.
And Bianca Jagger.
So Mick Jagger never hit on you. Yeah. None of those guys. James Caan and all of these 70s stars.
Listen. Madonna went and wanted her music played.
Right.
And they said, and this is a common story. It was told at her birthday party, and it was that. If you drop trow, and suck a little dick, you can get your music played. And she said, fucking do it. What do I care? What, that's something? Fine, do it and play my fucking music. And I took that as the beginning of my freedom. I took that personally, that don't let any of the guys bully you around, holding sex over your head like we have something on you. Own it.
Right.
So for me, that was at the time that I was personally starting to come out, like in the 80s. She was my entree into being freer than the way I was brought up.
You were sexually free.
Yeah, I loved that
Sexually liberated.
Sexually liberated. Thank you, Madonna. Thank you, Madonna, for liberating Rosalee.
And now we both pee our pants when we cough. So yes.
Yes, but she's had awful plastic surgery, and you haven't.
Aw, yeah.
Not that I could see. I don't know. Maybe, your surgeon's better than hers if you have. That's for sure.
Thank you.
But
I want to know what was your favorite place that you've been to on tour, because being able to travel like that is such an opportunity.
Honestly, there's so many. There's a bunch. Like there's there was a cruise that we got to do called I can't think of the name of it. Shiprocked is the name of it, and there's just something about being on the top deck of the cruise in the middle of the ocean, and there's like 3,000 people watching you play. That was pretty epic.
Wow,
awesome.
That was shortly after. That was like one of the first shows I got to do with Stitched Up Heart. There's another really cool one that they have in Madison, Wisconsin, called Taste of Madison. And you can see it if you go to my Facebook. You can see it's like one of the backdrop things behind my picture, or whatever. But it's like there's a picture of us and from behind the stage, and it's facing like the Capitol building. There's like just a sea of people in there. That was a really fun.
It's like you're Martin Luther King. Like I have a dream. Let's get in the mosh pit. That's my dream.
Moscow was really freaking awesome. It honestly was a beautiful city. Another one we got in London after midnight. I got to play. There was a place called Castle Party in, I can't remember the name, in Poland, but it's literally it's in the backyard of a castle.
That is so cool.
That was pretty freaking awesome too as well. Yeah, there's been a lot of like amazing places. Those are just a couple I can think of off the top of my head, but there's been so many fun spots I've got to. A lot of it though, after a while, you're just like, you get there and you kind of play the show, just kind of relax afterwards. Just kick back and out.
Well, you guys were in a van for a while.
Oh yeah, for the when I first joined the band, it was like literally we spent in 2016. We lived in a van. There's 6 of us.
Yeah.
There was 5 band members and the merch girl, and we lived in that van for 6 months straight. 6 months straight, and then later on in the year, we got called out for another 2-month tour or something like that.
And if you go online, Mixie does a tour of the van, which is not a big van. And she's got her Star Wars blankets on her thing, and your stuff is pretty unkempt.
Okay, we can't stand the van anymore. And Decker still owns this van,
right?
And it's literally got it's 360.
Decker's the drummer.
Decker's the drummer,
and Decker's cool. By the way, everybody in Stitch Up Heart are the nicest people. They're so cool. Mixie's cool, Decker's cool, you're cool. Everybody I've met in Stitch Up Heart is just
Well, we
super
figured
cool.
we would get further if we were nice to people rather than assholes to people.
No, but you're not putting it on. You're not pretending. You're genuinely nice.
Thanks, Mark.
I know the difference. I've seen the difference. I know you've seen the difference. But anyway, so talk about the van.
Oh, but anyways, I mean, that van's has been through hell and back. I mean, it smells like beer farts from like 2001, I swear to God.
I can only imagine how many beer farts it's absorbed.
Oh, but every time when we get ready to go on another tour, Decker's always like, well, we got the van. And we're all like, dude, the band's going to break up. We have to get back in that van again.
and let's be honest, Mixie's got the worst beer farts of anybody. No comment. Anyway, I'm kidding.
I mean, not as far as I know. I will say, there were times when, there were like okay, I would always admit to my farts. If I farted, I was taking ownership of it. I was proud of it.
Just a warning for you, Rosalee.
Most of the guys in the band were usually like that. Except for like occasionally, like you smell something really bad, like who farted, and the girls would neither one would admit.
I was going to say the girls didn't admit it.
They would not admit it.
No, girls don't admit that stuff.
And actually, I know now when my band hears this interview, they're gonna be like, "Of course, Randy's talking about fart jokes again."
You can blame me. You can blame me. Trust me. They know me enough.
Fart joke. I'd like to transition into. You wanted to talk about Beavis and Butthead?
Oh yeah, I saw that they came out with a new movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, how is it?
I haven't seen it yet. Have you guys seen it?
I haven't seen. I was going to watch it, when it comes out. So I guess it's there tonight. So I'll watch it.
I think it's out on Paramount.
I
right
like
now.
that it seems to have a multiverse kind of thing going
Really?
on.
Everything's got a multiverse now.
I honestly,
but Beavis and Butthead. So there's the commercial, right? And Beavis and Butthead are visited by the smart Beavis and Butthead from another reality, and they say that no reality have they ever scored, and and Butthead's like, yes, we're gonna be the first. That was how he took that. But yeah, no reality have Beavis and Butthead ever scored.
I look forward to seeing it, and it's the thing is, I know some people that don't like it, and they usually have never been a 14-year-old boy. If you've been a 14-year-old boy, that's you.
I grew up with Beavis and Butthead.
Same, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I loved it when I.
But you were Beavis and Butthead when you were 14. We all were, to some extent.
Yeah.
Some people never grow out of it. We know a lot of people in the scene that have never grown out of it. Yeah, now he's doing his laugh.
You kind of, yeah.
No, he was totally doing the laugh. Come on, do it. And actually, to be honest, I think Daria was the funniest on Beavis and Butthead for the contrast.
Oh.
Like, except
I
her,
Mr. Anderson was pretty.
Mr.
hilarious.
Anderson was great.
He would have the flashbacks to Vietnam.
Yes.
But like Daria, everybody was on Daria's wavelength. On Beavis and Butthead, she was totally the contrast, and that's what was great.
I never got into Daria.
Anyways, I was looking at your glasses. That's why I was going into Daria. But you were talking about commercials. Now, like I said, you transitioned from modeling to you've been in so many commercials. You were singing for Campbell's Soup, and you just, you just really took to it. And you have a lot of
because my dad put me on a street corner when I was 3 to sell chicken eggs.
Really?
I started a list. I'm up to 150.
Chicken eggs?
Things that I've sold, starting
Wow.
with chicken eggs at 3. I've sold you.
How'd you do, and how'd you not get kidnapped?
Right? I don't know.
Well, 3-year-old girl with eggs is a little
With eggs.
suspect.
You want to buy eggs? They took a picture of me and put me in the newspaper, and that's how it all started.
Maybe your agent saw you in the newspaper and said, if only I wait 12 years, or these agents are weird, yeah.
When I was a little kid,
She's got the height.
when I was a little kid growing up back in Miami, my father, he was a truck driver and he worked for Yoo-Hoo, and he used to bring home cases of Yoo-Hoo, and we set up, instead of a lemonade stand, we had a
You
Yoo-Hoo
sell his
stand.
That's amazing.
We had a Yoo-Hoo stand in front of our house.
Yep.
Wow, look at all these ambitious people. But you have a theory how to get in commercials.
Oh.
You have a whole technique.
I do.
Now, if somebody wants to get in commercials, tell them how to do it.
How to get in commercials? I don't know.
I want to book a commercial. If somebody's calling you right now, your agent's calling you, and
right?
your agent's calling you. They want you in a commercial.
How to get in it? I don't know, because that was Eileen Ford in New York.
So you had the
she
Ford
did that.
agency, yeah.
Exactly. So she just put me with a commercial agent and said, "This is how it's gonna go, honey." And I went, "No, but I was good on Runway." She said, "No, you whistled. No, you have to go to commercials, Rosalie." No, I do have a theory that it is an instantaneous insanity that takes you. You know when you think of something, how your face changes? Like if you just suggest something, and there...
Randy's face never changes, but go ahead. Most people's faces
yes,
do.
it does. I've seen it. The one thing about commercials is they're always positive. You can't be negative. And
Right.
since I do so much comedy, I will lose many an audition because I have a smart mouth. It's just, it comes out. But if you can just be positive toward the product, and you have to convince yourself. But the one way I could do it always was with food.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
But even food you don't like?
no, food, you just have to imagine that it smells like a cookie.
Okay. But commercials...
Whatever you're selling.
But on commercials and in the movies, when you eat, you got to do a take after take after take
Oh
after
my God.
take.
87 takes for Taco Bell.
That's
Oh, talk about beer farts! My God,
Dude, 87 takes.
you had to
I
eat
was
Taco
so
Bell 87
broken.
times in a
Well,
row.
you spit it out, but
Yeah,
mean,
I
it's still...
usually spit it out whether you're doing a
still-
commercial or not. It's Taco Bell.
No, dude, Taco Bell has really good Mexican pizza. Just
Not anymore.
Actually, no, yes, they brought it back.
Yeah,
actually-
and then they pulled it, and then they
back.
pulled it. They
They
pulled it
pulled
already.
it again?
They pulled it
They're
already.
trying to hurt
What?
me, man. They're
Yeah.
trying to hurt me.
I actually got one though.
I
About
love
a month ago.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
miss
Brought it
my
back a month
chance.
ago.
I
2
miss
weeks
my
later,
chance.
out.
Crunchy.
Oh my god, I love those pizzas.
Me too.
But I did find out that I asked the makeup artist afterwards in the dressing room, getting undressed, just going like, man, that was brutal. And she said, he did it to everyone, but especially to you. And I said, why? And the director right then walks in and he goes, oh, without your makeup, you look just like my ex-wife. And I thought,
Oh.
now we know.
And you know what my favorite commercial that you've done is?
Favorite commercial?
Take a wild guess.
The one that with Leslie Nielsen, that I flew through the air. And
No, but tell me about that one. I didn't see that one.
Okay, that won World's Funniest Commercial.
Wow.
Oh, that's
that
great.
year. And it was shot by Rick Friedman, who is the father of the guys who wrote Scary Movie.
Okay.
Right.
That was stolen
From the
and
Wayans.
by the Wayans.
By the Wayans.
By
Okay.
the Wayans in a meeting. So that's Rick's kids. They live next door. He calls me and he goes, I've written some shit I really want to shoot. And I said, okay. So I auditioned for it. I got it. We're at the end of the day. We've shot 5 commercials for Enterprise or something, right?
Right.
He says, there's one I really wanted to do. He shows it to me and I said, I'm sorry, I'm willing to stay. Who's willing to stay? We all stayed. They put me in Sandy Duncan's harness
From Peter Pan.
from Peter Pan, threw me up on the ceiling and had me drop in, and I land and come up and go, interested in a compact? It's compacts that have been sewn. They happen to all open simultaneously, miraculously.
Wow.
And Leslie Nielsen does his famous fart joke.
Right.
He started farting later in life, and so he would always
I'm
have
sure
a
he
whoopee
farted
cushion.
throughout his life.
Throughout
I mean,
his life, and he would bring his whoopee cushion
right.
to all the sets, and
Right.
so that's what we did, and it won funniest commercial in the world.
So you open
Wow.
your compact and that was it?
Well, they didn't keep the
Right.
fart sign,
Right.
but you know,
'Cause
it was still a lot of fun to drop out of the air. Just
I'm assuming Leslie Nielsen's a human being and he's always farted his whole life. But well, how was he to work with?
He's a genius.
Yeah, but was he cool? Was he very nice? Or
Very cool, very nice, very sweet. I wanted to kiss him, but they wouldn't let me.
really?
I always
He was
wanted-
sexy or what?
Yeah, he's very sexy.
Well, I mean, not now, but yeah, but
whatever.
then, yeah.
Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
unrequited love. But my favorite commercial that you did.
Shirley MacLaine.
No, but tell me about that in a second. Because I'm going to keep guessing commercials and we'll be out of
okay,
time.
just tell me.
The Viagra commercial.
That was a good one, right?
That was a good one.
So in the United States, you can't do a Viagra commercial that's funny. They take it very serious.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Very serious. But this was Canadian Viagra, where Viagra is made.
It's made in Canada,
It's
really?
made in Canada, and it was the Canadian producers came down, and I booked that one
Ah.
because it was so much fun.
It was a funny commercial. Basically, just so you guys know, what it is you're lounging by the pool, you're showing your beautiful legs, and you're like, you know, my husband watches so much sports, and then it cuts to like you guys on the TV. It's like, First it was baseball, then it was football, then it was basketball. Now we're watching freaking darts. Then I got him Viagra. And he doesn't watch sports anymore. And the reason I wanted to get that in because I wanted to get to our sponsor, which you don't need Viagra anymore because we have a sponsor. And I want to tell everybody listening, does summoning Baphomet in a chalk circle make it difficult for you to rise to the occasion? Do you occasionally have too many bracing shots of absinthe and find it nearly impossible to feel your nethers tickled by the green fairy? Fear not, dear listener. Eddie by Giddy is the wearable device designed to treat ED symptoms for men needing a little assistance in bed. Using promo code DARKMARK20, you can save 20% on your Eddie purchase, and you and your partner will be chanting incantations of ecstasy together faster than you can say red rum. Go to buyeddie.com/darkmark for 20% off your purchase using code DARKMARK20 today. What Eddie by Giddy is, it's a wearable device. You don't need the pills. You don't need the side effects. I've seen the reviews. It works. And, some people, once or twice, they're set. You got the blood flow going right where you need it. So, EddieByGiddy.com. Use promo code DARKMARK20. And I won't talk about our energy drink sponsor because it's a conflict. Because you guys are sponsored by Monster Energy Drink. But let me, before you were in, and we'll get back to that Shirley MacLaine commercial because I'm curious about that. Before you were in Stitched Apart, you were in. Here's my question: when did you feel that you were a member of Stitched Apart? Like you're in for life, or do you feel you're in for life? Because the first tour, obviously,
maybe the first time we all had to sleep in the van together.
When you felt part of the band, when did you first feel part of the band?
I don't know. I would say probably about a couple months into 2016.
Had to be that cruise.
Yeah. Well, no, we had did 2 tours by the time we did that cruise. In late 2015, I remember they just started booking us back-to-back tours pretty much. I remember jumping us from one band to the next. I would say maybe around 2016, a couple months into the tour. We're touring in 2016.
Right. Because and you do fit in with the band because I got to tell you, nobody can whip their hair like Mixie.
Yeah, right.
Nobody whips their hair around like Mixie. You try and you get close. But not quite.
I mean, but you see the mane that she has.
She's got a lot of hair.
It's insane, And a lot of times I'll look back and like, damn, that chick is throwing down. Holy shit, look at her go.
So then you start doing it. And it's like you can't really compete.
Yeah.
Well, you dyed your hair black for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Was that mandated by the record company, or you just were like,
I just wanted to change it, and then a couple years afterwards, I was like, I'll go back to blonde again. I mean, honestly, I want to turn it like red or something like that, but it's just too much of a hassle to get all that color out of there. Like getting the black out, I had to chop a lot of it off again, and now so it's just now getting long.
Right. Not Mixie long, but it's long.
Right.
But being in a successful band, and you guys had another. It's weird because your last album hit like right when the pandemic hit. Yeah. And you had a song with Godsmack's lead singer Sully.
Right.
Which should have been a big hit, and
the album got released. We had a lot of stuff lined up for 2020. It was going to be a really, really big year for us. Festivals and a bunch of tours and so they released the album. And we're set to go on tour. I want to say it was like 3 days after that or something. 3 or 4 days. It wasn't that long. And all of a sudden we said, okay, that the first tour got canceled. And they didn't cancel it, but they pushed it back to later in the year. And then there was a bunch of club shows, and they're like, well, the club shows are going to be canceled. And then it was like, and the album's coming, it was already out at that point. And then there was a radio campaign that was supposed to follow some of the songs and all that stuff, and everything they just dropped it all.
Right.
Much like I mean, not because they wanted to, but just because nothing was happening in the world.
Right.
Pretty much at that point. So we're like, God damn it. So the album that was supposed to get a big push, it didn't really get the push that it was intended to.
Right.
But now we actually are getting ready to release. There's another album that's just about completed, and it should be out. So the rest of this year, we're putting the finishing touches on it now.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be out early next year. And next year, fingers crossed, we don't hit some big, huge snag in world economics again or something. And then we're able to achieve what we planned to back in 2020.
Right. Because I it's funny because I was watching some reactions to that song. What's the song called with Sully? Lost. And I was watching a couple reactions, and one of them was pretty funny because they were loving the song, and then when Sully started singing, and Sully, don't kill me, because if you're listening, please come on the show. I would love to have you. But when Sully started singing, she's like, "Why is he singing? The song's good without him." And
I mean, actually, I thought he would. I wish he would have sang a little more on it personally, but.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a great part.
Because you guys are open for Godsmack.
On that, there was a run we did in 2019 that we opened for them. We did it across America and then across Canada afterwards.
Now, do they still have a big following, or?
Yeah, that was still to today the biggest tour that we've done yet. And some of the theaters, the places we played, there were like 20,000 people, and they were sold out.
That's great.
When we went on, it was super packed. I mean, people just looked like dots all the way in the back.
Oh my goodness!
So was it from that tour that he got on the song that he was like, yeah, we should collaborate, or just was that a record company thing?
No, that was something that was already. I think they had already recorded that song. Actually,
okay.
Lost had already been recorded at that point. I don't remember how the whole thing came to be, but I think Mixie was the one somehow. I think I'm not sure, but I believe her and Sully became friends, and then that's how they lined up the tour and got him on the album.
Good for Mixie. She's networking.
Really cool.
Yeah,
but because. You guys just been all over the place, and I was listening to the album today. I really liked it. Now, you don't write any of the songs.
Do you shoot most?
Or do you?
Most of the songs we all end up submitting, and whatever the record company ends up keeping at the end is what ends up on the is the final product.
That's cool. That's very collaborative.
Yeah.
So have you had songs?
No, I have not had any yet. No.
So record companies
the first one, the very first one. It was already pretty much recorded by the time I got into the band.
Right.
They had been working on it already.
Right.
And the second one, it was just a big clusterfuck kind of. This one, so I'm talking with them now, trying to arrange how to go and play on this new album now. So I know there's some songs that were done here with Kevin Thrasher from Escape the Fate.
Mm-hmm.
She did a couple songs with him. Or no, at least one song, and there's another guy, Mitch, who did the first album, which is now living in Tennessee. I know she went out there Mixie's been out there for quite a while.
Okay.
Recording with him.
Right. Basically, like the rest of LA, just leaving and going.
Like, I'm over this.
Yeah. Forget LA. I'm going to Austin. I'm going to Nashville. I know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was going to have you tell the story you were telling before we were on the air that you guys were in England. And how
late last year, yeah. So we're all trying to just get going again, and tours are like dropping. They're finally welcoming them back into the world, but they just start dropping like flies here and there. Like one person on the crew gets COVID, and the whole tour has to go down, for like 4 or 5 days, a week or whatever. And we were there.
It's still happening. Like the Rolling Stones got COVID. Like all these people get COVID.
We were touring the UK last year. We only did 2 tours last year. One with the Butcher Babies, and we did another one with Chris Jericho. He has a band called Fozzy.
Right, the wrestler.
Yeah. So we were over there, and we get there. We actually went over to the UK. We showed up like a week early because we wanted to go see the sights, and they haven't been over there. I've been over there a couple times before, over London after midnight, but I know Mixie and Merritt, it was like their first, and Decker too. It was like their first time going over there, so they're all excited. So we go over there, and we're running around England or London, and
after midnight, ironically enough.
No, actually, we were back in the house before midnight.
Okay, that was the old.
And
thing.
Actually, when we played in London with London after midnight, it was before midnight. And we had a 10:30 p.m. curfew. I remember that we had to be out. So we were in London before midnight that day. But anyways. The tour starts, and I felt a little sick. I mean, I had COVID. I had it a couple times so far, and I feel a little something, and I feel something, but it's nothing that I could stop not perform or anything like that. And I would just do like my regular routine, warm up my hands for bass, and then do some jumping jacks or something right before the set. And I would go out there, and I would just felt exactly the same as I usually always did.
Wow.
And there was only one day that I felt like really, really sick. We played a show, then we drove 2 hours, and then we had to get on a ferry, so we had to get off of the vehicle because they won't let you stay on the vehicle when they're taking the ferry over to Ireland. And then so there's 2 hours on the ferry, and then we get to the other side where we're going. I can't remember where we were going to that at that point, but then it's another 2 hour drive. When we got to the venue, I was just freaking exhausted. I was so tired. I pretty much only slept like an hour or two, and I remember that day I felt kind of really crappy. But I mean, I was like, well, maybe it is not because of COVID, but it's just I'm just so exhausted today, so that's why I'm not feeling so good. And then the day after, I felt fine again.
Very lucky.
But then one of the bands ended up canceling. There was had 3 shows left, and for some reason I don't know what happened, but one of the shows got canceled, I just don't want to say. So, I don't know the whole thing. I just
but you slipped in before the quarantine, the mandatory quarantine.
The laws were changing so much, and basically what happened was we landed there, and in the UK before the tour even started, and then the law at that point was like I think you had to quarantine for like 1 or 2 days, and then you can go wherever you wanted. So. But literally the day after that, they changed the law that we had to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
So I was like, that would have never even worked. We would have got there. We would never been able to do the tour. So we're like, thank God that changed. But we ended up catching COVID, and
that might have been why they changed the laws.
If you remember, late last year, there was like just a huge wave of COVID just swept the whole entire country over there,
right?
The entire UK, and we 4 of us
because everybody went to the Stitched Up Heart show.
Yeah, right.
No, you laugh. My friend got COVID at the Alice Cooper show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's nice to know that he's still scary, but still.
So is there like there's like a status of like, well, I caught it at Cooper show. Well, I caught it at the Comedy Store. So, you caught it in London. It's a status.
You got it at the Comedy Store, really?
Yeah, I got it at the Comedy Store.
Yeah, I've never.
I guess I can't say that.
I always wipe the mic, and as far as I know, I haven't gotten it. But
I figured, you don't test, you can't be positive.
That's right. Just don't test.
I have a question. What kind of food did you guys enjoy? Because it was like their first time. Did you guys like have a cultural experience in London? Did you have a good time?
Oh no, yeah, we still had a pretty good time. But the foods that we used, we were a lot of it, which is like
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Oh, there's a place called Greg's over there that was actually it was actually pretty good. And at the end, I mean, we ended
no bangers and mash.
I don't think I had bangers and mash.
Chips?
We did go. No, our sound guy Steve did go get fish and chips. So he insisted on, and we ended up stopping in this one bar. I remember one time, and it ended up being Amy Winehouse's old hangout.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so
she didn't do a lot of eating.
Huh? Yeah, right. But that was I guess that was her regular hangout. I can't remember the place of the name of the place for the life of me. But I remember them saying people were talking about that Amy used to hang out there a lot.
Was it an opium den? What place was this? Oh, it's just a bar.
You could probably even look it up online.
What kind of food did they have at Greg's?
Bar food, pretty much, and it was like fish and chips. At Greg's they had a lot of pastries and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's like they'll have like pastries with like a sausage in it or something.
Nice.
So honestly, a lot of it was pretty good. But then at the very end, though, when I got ready to come back, this is how I actually found out that I had COVID. Our sound guy tested positive for COVID, and I was like, so at this point though, we're all staying in one of the Premier Inns just outside of Heathrow,
right? And
there's like 7 of us, all in different hotel rooms, and we're eating like downstairs at we're ordering food up to the rooms from the restaurant they had there. But every day I would get up and I would just go for like a walk, like a 3 or 4 mile walk, because there was like freaking nothing to do. But then when I got ready to go back to America, the first time I went there, because you have to take a test to get on the plane, a COVID test, and I took the COVID test, And I turned up positive, and the lady's like, "Oh, you need to go find a place to go quarantine. You tested positive." And I have all my luggage and everything, so I was like, "God damn it!" So back to the hotel.
They left you?
Huh? No. We were all leaving at separate times, and Mixie and Merritt, they were planning on going to Paris for a couple days, but Decker, I think Decker did not catch COVID, and he ended up coming back early. Yeah.
So you had to stay at that hotel.
So I ended up staying there for like an extra week, and the whole time I'm trying to figure out, because I like the way the laws were. I was like looking at the timeline for it, and I was researching it online and trying to figure out how long am I going to test positive, because it had been well over 10 days before I first felt any symptoms, and it was about 2 weeks at this point. And from what I was reading online, that after, I think it's like 7 days, 5 or 7 days, you're not even contagious anymore, but you still continue to test positive. And I was getting up every day and I was walking to the testing site, the NHS system that they have there, and I just kept going and testing every day, going, it came back positive. And keep in mind, this is like a 4 to 6 mile round trip walk from the hotel.
Right.
And so it's not, it wasn't like
the walk back. You're like, shit.
I honestly, I didn't really mind. I mean, I felt fine. You know, I wasn't feeling sick, but I just kept testing positive for COVID. And then I read online you could test positive. I think it was up to like 90 days. That you can actually test positive.
I know somebody had it. It was like a couple months. Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't want to stay here for 90 days. I mean, it's a beautiful country and all, but I want to go. It was Christmas time. I was like, I want to go home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I started getting sad. I was like, how am I going to get back there? My girlfriend, I called her up. She's like, get home now. I can't figure out what you got to do. You got to get home. And so,
were you going out with the witch? Or what?
No. When I talk Nixie's voice, I do the same thing.
Is that what
Randy, you know you gotta iron that shirt before you go. No, but anyway, so she's like, you gotta figure out how to get home. So then I started researching, and I found that if you, because people, how they end up getting on flights is you could see a doctor. And the doctor can give you like a waiver. They write like, okay, you tell them the timeline pretty much, and they said, okay, well, this is when they had COVID. This is when they don't have after this time. You basically don't have it, but you're still going to test positive for it. So my girlfriend found a doctor in San Diego, and I had an online visit with her, and I told her the timeline.
That sounds like some sketchy shit.
I told her the timeline, and then she was like, "Oh, okay, all right. I'll email you over the letter that says you have recovered from COVID." So she emails me over the letter. I run downstairs to the concierge desk, and I print it up, pack my shit up, run down to the airport, get the first flight back to America.
And they fell for that. They fell for that.
Then they took...
Because you realize you could have just had Dr. Nicole 6 write you a note, and they would have been like, oh, okay. Yeah. But, Rosalee, let me ask you now, not only have you co-starred with Leslie Nielsen and Shirley MacLaine, is she as wacky as they say?
You know, I loved her. I think the people I've worked with a lot of stars, and it's just because I'm such a fan that I enjoy. I mean, she was having a hard time that day. She wasn't used to commercials. It was for Visa or something, and it was a 5-day shoot. It was rough. We were in like Bridgerton outfits back in time. The joke was her past life regression stuff, right? So. And she wasn't happy to be there, and it was rough. But I remember as a little girl, I didn't put that part in. Never tell a star. I remember you as a little girl. Yeah, don't say that. But I did. I remembered her. Was it something about Harry, or is that the name of it?
When Harry Met Sally?
No, Jesus.
No, it's Shirley MacLaine.
So young. Okay. No, way before New York Times.
Oh, okay. All right.
But no, it was about the dead husband, and it was Alfred Hitchcock. Anyway, so I remembered the shot of her in profile. I spoke in French. En profile. It was this a side shot of her eyelashes with just her little round cheek and her eyelashes in the corner when you finally catch on that her husband's dead.
Mm.
And I recalled that scene and I said, I understand how hard this is. I do commercials all the time. She said, he doesn't tell me why I'm walking in the shop. And I said, I understand, because you had the great opportunities. And I called out the scene and repeated the scene to her, and her whole demeanor changed. And then we had a fabulous 5 days together.
So you were Shirley MacLaine's acting coach.
No.
So-
I was just,
So,
I really get it.
honey, I know you work with Hitchcock, but this is the way we do things in commercials.
It's so embarrassing. But she was wonderful. They were very rough to work with. They made me cry.
Shirley MacLaine made you cry?
No, not her. The
I was gonna say I'll rough her up
production
if you really, yeah.
Well, the problem when you shoot something in Europe, it's so free. You can do almost anything.
Yeah, you could show up with a note from San Diego saying you got negative COVID.
But there's not so much money on the line. When you shoot in the U.S., a beer commercial I did was $1 million in the 80s. There's so many jobs at stake. There's a team of 150 union workers and all the writers and the ad agency.
There better be some good beer.
And everybody has a stake in it and has to prove their worth to keep their jobs. So the pressure in the U.S. for the commercial world is immense.
But what's even more pressure? And is doing a big budget movie like The Lawnmower Man.
Oh God!
And by the way, Nicole, can you believe it's already been an hour? This has been so much fun.
Wow.
But I want to hear about The Lawnmower Man. You remember The Lawnmower Man, the movie?
I remember that.
You do.
Yeah.
She was the mother of the little kid in The Lawnmower Man with Pierce Brosnan and Jeff Fahey.
I'm gonna go rewatch that again.
Yeah.
Jeff and I were models in New York, actors in New York.
So you already knew
the
him?
Dan Lauria crowd, but I didn't know he had booked the shoot either. So we showed up, and I find out he's the bad guy. Dude, Jeff Fahey comes from a family of 15 kids, just like Jeremy Renner does, and they all would rather be fishing than acting. They're just terrific guys. But we didn't know that we were both booked on this. So I show up, and it's Pierce Brosnan, and there's a lot of stuff going on. At that time, Pierce's wife was dying from cancer.
Yeah.
So it was he was removed sort of emotionally from the filming.
He was also kind of being courted for James Bond around that time too, I would imagine.
Yeah, he was trying to get out of some other contracts to be able to do it. It was a rough time all around for him.
Right.
But sweetheart of a guy. And I missed my chance because I was running through a thicket of blackberries and my legs were being torn. I didn't kiss him at the end, and I could have. Damn it.
Did you want to kiss him?
I wanted to kiss him. I wanted to kiss Shirley. I want to kiss everybody.
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen.
Who's sexier, Leslie Nielsen or?
I got put in the closet with Bill Murray. Wanted to kiss him.
Now, who's sexier, Bill Murray, Leslie Nielsen, or Pierce Brosnan?
Oh man, Bill Murray.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're in that short. About Bill Murray,
he wasn't there.
Yeah.
This was from a previous interview a long time ago.
So tell us, you were locked in the closet with Bill Murray?
Well, no, we were in an interview, and he thought it would be hilarious to grab me which now would be total
He thought it'd be hilarious to sexually harass you.
Right, exactly. And I went along with it because I'm an idiot comedian, and we were at a closet, so I just opened the door and we went in, and I closed the door, and then I was pulling on his pants, and he said, "She just pulled my pants." So
owning your sexuality.
Yeah, I was, Madonna awakened me. So.
Yes, but The Lawnmower Man, I mean, that's such a cult hit. You must still get recognized from that.
Yeah, we do. I was in North Carolina at a comedy festival and got recognized. I was on Kill Tony.
Right.
And somebody called out, Carla Parquet.
So if people don't know The Lawnmower Man, and the funniest thing about The Lawnmower Man is it's so loosely based on the Stephen King story that it has nothing to do with that Stephen King story. Basically,
the only thing a flop at the time, and then it became a cult hit, right?
I mean, just from my research, it was a decent hit. I mean, it wasn't huge, but it made its money back. And then they had The Lawnmower Man 2, which the guy who played your son, who was the little kid from Last Action Hero, Austin O'Brien, was in the sequel, but you weren't.
Mm-mm.
Were you approached?
No, they changed the whole thing around, and so much of it had changed.
Yeah.
And he was bigger, and
He wasn't Jeff Fahey anymore. He was Max Headroom.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But do you know the whole Lawnmower Man thing?
I don't. I know about Max Headroom though.
No, the Lawnmower Man, the original story of the Lawnmower Man was a Stephen King story.
Right.
But the only thing that from that story that they used was the guy had telekinesis and the lawnmower went by itself.
Okay.
They changed the whole thing and basically made it more of a Flowers for Algernon Charlie story, where it was a simpleton, what they used to call retarded, but they can't say that anymore. And then he becomes a super genius, and there's a lot of VR. And it's interesting because, the special effects sort of don't hold up, but sort of do.
Well, that same premise has been used so many times. The guy wasn't bright, and then they fixed his brain, and then
Awakening.
he becomes a power-hungry monster.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Like so many people.
Yes, and you come across them. And you were also in Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser.
That was so sweet.
Another sexy guy.
He was a doll.
Yeah?
He was a doll. He was too young to kiss, but,
Well, this is what I want to get to, because you're doing comedy now.
Yeah.
And when we have you back, we're going to talk more about this because I'm not sure why you're doing comedy other than you're funny. But, I would keep doing commercials and making movies, but...
I couldn't, I got breast cancer, and it wasn't a good kind, if there can be a good kind. But it was, they literally sat us down and said, you don't have any time.
Wow.
When I survived that, surprise, it worked. I couldn't just go sell Lexuses or something. I couldn't. Something
Really?
had shifted, and I had to just be more me.
Okay.
And what happened was I started writing comedy.
That's a great reason.
Yeah.
We were just talking, like, a lot of the new comics I run across, it's just a midlife crisis, but you actually had an epiphany.
Yeah.
And
it's changed me forever, for the better, I think.
That's great.
Mm.
That's great. I mean, I know stand-up comedy does all sorts of things to people, but that's great. But in your act, you talk about how the younger comedians are always hitting on you.
Oh, God.
And you don't date younger men? Is that the deal?
No, I do not date younger men. But if I'm going to date...
Why not?
They're going to be so fucking old. They all look so fucking old. What have they been doing with their lives?
Well, first off, I don't date comedians, so don't stay away from comedians. I don't... Yeah, I don't know what you're thinking, but because older women like me, so it's no, but why not younger men?
I don't know. I wrote a joke about that 2 days ago. Let's see if I can remember it. Oh, I was doing it in character. So I invented this character now named Booby Trap.
I'm familiar with Booby Trap, yes.
Booby is now a lot of fun to do. And maybe she date younger men because she's only 12. Maybe she finds 10-year-olds very attractive.
She's 12, but she's got a rack that's about 50 double D.
It's not her fault. It was the steroids for the Olympics. Be nice.
Well, you turned your breast cancer completely around. So, but Randy, let me ask you another question because I do have this on my mind. You guys do a lot of hard rock festivals, a lot of metal festivals. I would say your music is hard rock, not metal, but it has metal influences. Mm-hmm. Now, having a woman lead singer, is that ever a problem? Is that ever an issue with either crowds or other bands?
No, that's never really an issue.
Yeah,
she's gorgeous.
She
I mean, honestly, I think a lot of times that we all really like, everyone's coming to see Mixie. They're not coming to see the band.
Well, I got to be honest. Mixie's a star. Let's be honest.
She is. She really is.
And she has that star quality.
Yeah, she definitely does.
Yes.
And I can see it every time we perform together.
Mm.
Yeah. When I saw One Eyed Doll, when I saw you guys, it was funny because I thought a lot of the crowd would be for you guys, and they had no idea who you were. Mm. But you totally won them over.
We were still picking up. I mean, I was literally when I joined, that was the very first tour that I did with Stitched Up Heart.
Right.
I hadn't done anything. We did one little small thing. I remember just before that in August, we did a 10-day run up the West Coast, and they're like, "Yeah, we booked you on this festival with Slipknot." And so
by the way, when you're going on tour with Slipknot, so
No, but it wasn't a tour. It was a one festival up in it's Pain in the Grass was the name of the festival up in Auburn, Washington.
How clever.
Yeah, I know, right? But anyway, so we did a couple club dates up there to make gas money and enough to get back. I remember at the time. But then right after that, then they booked us on that tour with One Eyed Doll, and that was really the first tour that I did with them.
They just threw you right in.
Yeah, I mean, we had not even the album wasn't even out at that point, and they're like, all right, we're just gonna send you guys out to work, and literally it was in that year was. I remember we did the One Eyed Doll tour, and then we did another one with From Ashes to New was the band.
Okay.
They weren't that now. All of us have gotten a lot bigger now. We did it was about 6 or 7 weeks I think with them, and then we came home for Christmas, and then we were home until early 2016, where then we left for like 6 months. I remember at one point.
Right, but what I saw in New Orleans was the crowd didn't know you when you started.
Yeah.
And by the end, they were all totally into you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you won the crowd, and they I mean, nobody was grabbing your merch before, but they were totally grabbing your merch and wanting to talk to you guys.
New Orleans, though, I gotta say, I did one show in New Orleans, and we barely had any people, but all you had to do was walk across the street, and there was an opera singer doing a rock show. There's music everywhere, and the audiences love you.
Wow, yeah.
They love you with their whole heart. More than any comedy music in New Orleans.
That's why I didn't stay, because there weren't a lot of comedy.
Is that venue, the Howlin' Wolf, still there? Does it still exist?
Yeah.
As far as I know, I mean, I've done comedy at the Howlin' Wolf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's still there, but you guys played in the barn, so I don't know. But
no, I actually have played in the Howlin' Wolf. Actually, we were supposed to. I believe we were supposed to play there with London After Midnight.
Yeah.
And it was like I think what happened was it was after a big storm or something like that, and like there was like no phone, there was no contact with any of the promoters or anything like that. Yeah. That's actually happened a couple times.
I was going to say in New Orleans that has happened more than once, right?
There's actually been. I believe it happened on last year too as well, and I think it was New Orleans again. It was another venue. That it was a big storm that happened, and all the phone lines went down. Nobody's answering.
The weather is unpredictable.
You guys want us to come here or not? And they'll give it to like a certain amount of time, and they're like, "All right, guys, we can't get in touch with anybody over there, so we're not going to do the show."
Well, I did see you guys in Las Vegas as well about a year later or so, and I remember talking to Mexi, and she was like, I'm so exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
It was like right at the end of the tour, and it's like, he's so exhausted. To quote Cypress Hill, it's a fun job, but it's still a job.
Oh, no, yeah. That's definitely for sure. You know, it's still like showing up to work, clocking in, clocking out. And that's why a lot of times now, like when the show is done, I go back and relax.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Do those finger exercises then. You got the finger exercises you were doing for the bass?
Oh. No,
like before you do the show, you do like, that's what you said you were doing finger exercises before the show?
Oh, I mean, no, before, like, just like stretches.
Oh, okay.
Like that, and like trying to get warmed up or whatever, just moving your wrists around like this. And then sometimes you start doing this backstage and people will be like, what the hell's wrong with that guy?
but at the end of a show, did your hands hurt?
No, You know what happened? Back when I played in London After Midnight, before I used to stretch, and I remember we were doing this one tour, and say about 2 weeks in, I started getting this massive pains, like right through my arms from cause I usually play with my pick or my fingers. Like, right. Usually my fingers, and it just from right here, it hurt so bad. And then someone showed me some stretches, and so I started doing that afterwards.
Right.
And the pain it all went away, and pretty much. And there were times I would wake up in the middle of the night and I could feel these 2 fingers, and it would feel like they're throbbing, like someone's sticking a needle in there or something like that.
Ouch.
Wow.
I love London After Midnight, by the way. Kiss me, take me in your heart.
They played Crew World.
Yeah, no, I know. They just played Crew World. Yeah.
So like an awesome. I wanted to go. I'm actually their new guitar player Jeremy is a really, really good friend of mine.
Right.
Actually, even Jeremy was on the Godsmack tour with us.
Right. But what weird goth festivals did you do with London After Midnight? Like, were any weird goth shenanigans with them? That you could say on air.
Oh man, there was one I remember. Oh God, we were playing. Wave Gothic Treffen, if you've heard
Right,
of it.
right, in Germany, right?
We were playing Wave Gothic Treffen. And,
The top goth festival in the world.
And we were playing Agra Hall.
Agra.
I think, is that the name of it?
I don't know. I don't know for
believe
sure.
it's called. There's like
That's a great name, though.
So it's about. I believe it's called Agra Hall. It's a huge airport hangar, and
Mhm.
it holds about 12,000 people. I want to
Right.
say. And how the festival is if no one's familiar with it, is it's about 30,000 goths who come to Leipzig, Germany, over the course of like a 4-day weekend or something, a long weekend. And there's all these different venues, and they have all these things going on.
Mhm.
And the big, huge venue is the airport hangar one that we are co-headlining with Fields of the Nephilim. And
That's super goth.
yeah, something happened, and then God, I feel like I don't even want to say this on the air, but the hell with it. Oh, I ended up stripping down all my clothes, and I like wrapped up my face, and I had like a thong on and these tall platforms, and
Nice.
so our guitar player, Anthony, was a guy from Crazy Town. He
Right.
played guitar with us on that one, and I told him, like, we walked back to the back of the stage while they were playing, and I had a towel wrapped around my waist or whatever, and I told him, said, okay, you go talk to the security guard, and when you distract him, I'm going to run across stage really quick and make a big scene. And so it all goes down perfect, and then after, like, I run across the stage, and someone tried to stop me, and I ducked around them, and I missed them, and so I'm just running, and I didn't look behind me, but I guess I literally had 6 security guards chasing me. And I get to the backstage area, and there's 2 ways you can go. You can go up the stairs, and I think all the backstage, like the green rooms, were all on the 4th floor up the stairs.
Right.
Or you can come out this way, and you go to the back of the back of the airport hangar. It's
Right.
like a back door.
Right.
So I run up the stairs really quick, and I guess everybody else ran out the back door. Oh man! So it was like I get back, and I'm back there, and I'm throwing my clothes on really quick, but they actually did finding me, and this guy, I didn't really, because idiots, have been doing this kind of thing in America for years, and it's
Right.
like everyone just kind of laughs, like what a moron,
Yeah.
And life just goes on. But those guys were freaking pissed. They were not happy. And the security guard was really
Germany.
Yeah, you don't want angry Germans after you. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
They were really uptight, and I remember the guy came back there and he's screaming at me in German, and I cannot understand what this guy's saying. But said to myself, I was like, man, I really might get the shit kicked out of me right now. There's a good possibility this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And but they came back there, and they're like, somebody was able to translate, and they were really pissed off, and they said, you guys have 30 minutes to pack up all your shit and everybody get the hell out of here. So we ended up getting thrown out, pretty much is what happened.
Oh shit.
Because of you.
Because of but just to also let you know that there was something like their tech or something like that was like pounding. It was something that sparked it prior. Somebody was pounding on the bass when there was one song that Sean does, and it's like just him singing.
Right.
It's just him by himself.
Acapella.
There's no I think there's like a
Backing track. Okay.
The backing track and Sean. That's it. There's no drummer. There's no bass. There's no guitar. There's nothing. It's just him in the backing
I
track.
did a commercial.
And during that song, somebody's fucking checking a bass or whatever, and that's what I was like. Well, I got backstage and we started. Sean was like, "What the hell? Who the fuck was doing that?" And when we were back there, prior to me running across the stage in my underwear,
Right.
I remember our label, the guy from Trisaw, I think that was the name of the label that the band was on. He was back there. The booking agent was back. So it wasn't like nobody knew. Everyone knew that I was getting ready to go do it. Everybody in our camp anyway. So
Right.
It wasn't like I was pissing anybody off there.
Right. Except for the German security guards.
The security guards, those were the ones who were really pissed off, because I think they were like, well, they felt like they weren't doing their job, and I'm sure they,
Right.
probably got a bunch of shit for letting somebody sneak past them pretty much.
Who is this American on stage with his thong? Yeah, no, none of that stuff. That's the worst German accent that you've ever heard. Rosalee, what's the weirdest thing that's happened to you on a comedy stage?
Weirdest thing that happened.
Well, tell everybody the how your catchphrase started.
Oh.
Because you have the magnets.
Yeah, I do. I brought the magnets. Put your dicks away. Your mother is here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the main stage at the Comedy Store in Jimmy Shin's show. You want to see one?
Yeah, I'll put it on camera there.
And I'm just at 6 years now, so it's not like I have a lot of experience. And they put me on behind Margaret Cho and Big Bad Bo. And those guys...
I don't know Big Bad Bo, but I can imagine.
It was just the dirtiest, filthy sets. And I had rehearsed my mom material, got out there, and it fell flat. Who wants to hear the perspective from the mom point of view after such filthy, fabulous stuff? The next week, they put me in the exact same place following Margaret Cho and Big Bad Joe, Bo Hawkins. And I got mad. And a lot of good comedy comes out of being ask Bill Burr out of rage. And I just walked out and said, put your dicks away, your mother is here. And it just reset the room, It was a great...
It's a great learning experience. It was
a great learning experience, but they had to sock me in the face twice with that before I could... Really.
With their dicks.
Yeah, it was dick slapping nights. It was...
Comedy store can get a little rough, but... You gotta reset the room.
Well,
That's
the
good.
Best. It's the best stage.
You think so?
Maybe. Oh yeah. Do you love it when you?
To me, I've said this with every comic that's been on here. Laugh Factory, Ice House.
The Ice House.
And
Laugh Factory. It's a little round.
Laugh Factory is perfectly set up.
Intimate.
It's so easy.
Then Ice House had the sound.
Same thing.
The sound was so brilliant there.
And I love.
They were doing it, and I don't know what it's going to be like now.
And I love the Comedy Store.
And I love the Comedy
Store. But all sorts of things happen to comedy. Shootings happen to Comedy Store. Yeah. You never know what's going to happen to Comedy Store.
You never know.
I love the improv, but sometimes they can be a little stiff. The Comedy Store, sometimes they can be a little loose and start heckling.
Yeah.
Laugh Factory, perfectly set up.
Yeah.
I tell people, if you've been doing comedy at least a year and you bomb at the Laugh Factory, stop. Same thing with the Ice House. Stop.
Interesting.
Stop.
Yeah, because they were very, very.
You can't.
Those two shows that I did at the Ice House and the Laugh Factory, you're right, were amazing. In fact, that was the first place I ever got tape.
Yeah, and you should get tape because it's great. So anyway, we did what I hate to do, which is talk inside comedy, because you're so fascinating besides the comedy, and I could talk to you guys all night, but we have to stop the show sometime.
Okay, but you have to say where I can come see you, because now, of course, I'm in love with the band.
I've got the camera on you. So first, Rosalee, how can people see you, and how can they get magnets, and how they can follow you, and all of that?
Well, RosaleeMayeux.com. If anybody can spell that, you can order the magnets. There's a message box at the bottom of the website.
Mm-hmm.
And at Dave & Buster's this coming Monday night, I'm going to debut my Russian weather lady character. If you want to come and see her.
Dave & Buster's.
Dave & Buster's at Hollywood and Highland.
Oh wow, that's great.
I live about 3 blocks from there.
I think we might
come down.
Monday night.
We might all be down there. Who knows? But
I might have to change at your house because I don't know how I'm going to get.
Yeah, well, he's going to be in a thong, and you're going to be in your weather lady outfit.
I might streak across your stage.
I would love. Would you please?
I don't know. Last time didn't go so well.
Yeah, and of course, Dave & Buster's has great bar food. But what is your website and what is your social media?
So it's all under Rosalee Mayeux, Rosalee, and Mayeux is so easy to spell, right? Why am I French? Okay, MAYEUX as in X-ray.com.
And since you did so much prep to see if this podcast was worthy of you coming on, did it meet your expectations?
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun.
That's what I keep telling people.
I mean, I listened, I scoped them out. But they're all brilliant. They're all really good. You really put everybody at ease, and you had such interesting people like me.
Like you. And Nicole, who hasn't talked much, but she's...
I talked a lot. I asked lots of questions.
Anyway,
I'm so glad to meet
and Randy, how can people get a hold of you? And tell us, you got a project that you're working on.
They can just call me.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we have a lot of downtime right now with Stitched Up Heart. Actually, if you want to go find the band, it's Stitched Up Heart Rock, or wait, no,
StitchedUpHeart.org.
StitchedUpHeart.com. We actually got the .com.
Good.
Nice.
You know what happened was we were, because we made a joke about it. The band owned it years ago, and they lost it. They didn't pay the bill, and so
that's what happened to gothcomedian.com.
It ended up a porn site, is what happened.
Oh shit!
It was like,
StitchUpHeart.com was a porn site.
Ended up a porn site,
Nice.
yeah. And then somebody let the thing go, and we were joking around about it, and we're doing a little promo thing, and we're like, go to StitchUpHeart.com, and then I said like, no, it's a porn site. Don't go to that one. Anyway, one of our fans watched it, and then he went and researched it, and he actually bought the URL and he gave it to us.
Oh, that's
so
great.
now we actually do own StitchedUpHeart.com.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Anyways, you can go to StitchedUpHeart.com.
And at Stitched Up Heart, and you're Randy Mathias on all social media.
Correct, yeah, at Randy Mathias, RandyMathias.
Yes, this is turned into a spelling bee all of a sudden, but
Mark Mark Nicole.
yeah, and you're thinking of in your downtime doing a new metal cover band, right?
Yeah, I'm putting together a new. I'm in the process. I have the band together right now, but we're putting together because we're not going to be doing anything with Stitched Apart until next year, until the next record comes out.
Right.
We have, if anybody wants to venture out there, we're playing one show in someplace in Florida. I know that's a festival in October. It's like an RV park festival thing. It's the same people who put on Shiprock. There's like a new.
Nice.
Trying something
from a cruise to an RV park.
From a cruise to an RV park. But anyways, that's the last show that we're doing for the year as of right now. Unless we get an offer for a really big tour, I'm sure we'll jump on it. But I don't know if that's going to happen this year or not. But anyways, in the meantime, I'm putting together a new metal cover band. Pretty much is what I'm in the process of doing. So I'm going to spend the rest of the year working with that, pretty much.
That's except for the Dave and Buster's on Monday.
Except for Dave and Buster's on Monday.
Right. Well, Randy, thanks
it's going to be part comedy. Maybe you can give me some pointers on that.
Oh, dude.
Oh, Randy's going to start doing comedy now.
It's literally.
I'll bring you into my set. You'll be my shield, dude. I will totally bring you into my set.
We're planning on doing it's going to be about, I would say, about 70% live music and about 30% just us.
Banter.
Bickering back and forth.
There's a couple of comedians that were first rock stars, and I got to tell you, their work ethic, their crowd work, it was better than all the new comics, right? Because they're so used to. Yeah, this can.
Don't encourage them. We got enough comedy. but that brings me to one last question. What was it like touring with Steel Panther,
dude? That. No. I have to say, you guys.
Do you know Steel Panther, Rosalee?
Well, there's a few things I know.
I know that. So you know Steel Panther.
I have to tell you. And you guys asked about some of the most favorite places that we've been. Actually, out of all the tours that we've ever done, that has been by far my favorite tour, because those guys are really freaking awesome, man.
They're looking for a bass player.
I do. I did see that they were looking for a bass player. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe I might fall into that band one of these days. But as of right now, I'm in Stitched Up Heart, and I'm very happy.
Right. No, I understand that, and I don't want to break up Stitched Up Heart, but any Steel Panther hijinks before we go that you can. Hijinks that happen on tour that you can say on air? Say it. You gotta say it now. You gotta say it.
No, I don't know. Those are really nice guys, I would just say. They're very nice guys.
All right, tell me off the air. Randy, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. Hopefully you come back, and it's great to reconnect with you. I always dug you, and like I say, we've always been just club friends, catching up, but it's always good hanging out with you. You always you and everybody, Mixie and everybody in the band, just cool people.
Yeah.
And if people are fans of Stitched Up Heart, can't even talk now. Let me tell you something. I've met them all, and they're all really genuine, nice people. Which
Mixie. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really joking. No, Mixie's actually probably the nicest one.
I don't know. I've asked her on the show a few times, and she has said no. But she's
wait. Don't feel bad. She turns down pretty much just doesn't.
No, I don't take it personally. No, she's always been cool when we hang out. But and I know she's busy, and I know there's the record company and all that stuff.
I mean, honestly, when we're out on tour, it becomes just day. When I say day in, day out, check. There's 3 interviews every day that has to be done.
I know. Not this fun.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish they were all this fun.
Yes. And tell Mixie may the force be with her. And Nicole? Your book is out. It's available on Lulu.com.
Lulu.com, and I am at Nicole6Books on Instagram and NicoleH6 on Facebook.
Yes, and for the last time, I'm gonna try to. Yeah, there we go. Flip this around, and I'm Goth Comedian on all social media. Everybody, have a wonderfully creepy week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.